Hi, I'm Callum Bradshaw. I'm 23 years old. I'm currently racing in senior Rotax after being in retirement for a year. I've won Senior OKFIA World Championship, Rotax World Championship, 2 European championships in X30 and Rotax, and British and numerous one-off races, kart masters, etc. I started racing karting when I was 12 years old, quite late considering everybody starts off in bambinos or when they're 6 or cadets when they're 8. I did do 1 year of cadet racing when I was 12 because before I started playing football, I was a footballer for the under-12s of Leicester, and then I chose karting. My dad had a British Superbike team, so I guess I was always around the paddock of motorsport with bikes. And I sort of grabbed straight to it. My dad always never forced me into anything. He said, whatever you want to do it, and you've got to enjoy it. And I kind of enjoyed karting more than football, so he said, look, let's go karting. I don't know whether he wished I'd have stayed football. I'd have had a few pair of football boots than karting. He never forced me into anything, and I didn't really have any passion for bikes, to be honest. I had motocross bikes riding around the field, but I never said, oh Dad, can I go on this? Dad, can I go on that? And that's, I think, probably why I never fell into it, to be honest. Obviously I started off with BKC down at Wilton Mill, my local track, and just started off doing the club races down in Forest Edge where they were based, Clay Pigeon, pretty much the south of England. I didn't do a British Championship, and then Junior X30 again. It was sort of, that was when X30 was first picking up. I did that for 2 years, finished second in the LGM at the time, which was kind of classed as the British Championship for the X30. 2 years on the bounce, and then I also finished 2 years in the X30 World Finals, 2 years on the bounce in my second and third year karting. So I definitely think there was some natural talent there, you could say. But then after that, in my second year of junior karting, I did the FIA Academy Trophy also, and I won that for Britain, where obviously 2 contestants from each country, and they picked myself and Oliver Clark, I think, at the time. That was probably one of my best achievements also as well. And then I got picked up by a CRG factory team and went there for 2 years as almost a factory driver, I would say. It was a tough period, I would say, also because probably didn't have the equipment at the time in the whole team, and I kind of just fell out a bit of love, to be honest, with the sport. I was just like, oh, is it me? Maybe it is me. But after being so competitive in my junior career, I thought, oh, is it going away, or what's happening here? I stopped, and we were going to look at the transition to cars. Didn't end up doing that. I did the Volant Winfield scholarship in France, in Paul Ricard. Got to the final, the final 3. Isaac Hadjar was there, Jules Metelet, I think, ended up winning, which Hadjar's leading the F2 championship, so he wasn't bad to go up against. But then, as soon as I didn't win that, my dad was like, look, he's not going to do anything, he does it properly. When he does something and not half-hearted, he said, look, I'm not going to be able to afford cars to do it properly and this and that. I said, okay, it's no problem. And then Dan Hazel would come to me and was like, do you want to come and drive Senior X30 for us? And I was like, at the time, sort of gathering my feet, what to do next. I was like, yeah, sure, why not? You've not got an X30 team, let's go and smash it out of the park. So I said, look, I'll only do the 4 European races that year. I finished second to Mark Kimber in the Europeans in X30 that year, and I think obviously I started off, Dan put his trust in me, and then he ended up with 8 seniors, I think, after that year. So I'd say it worked out best for both of us. And then the next year I was like, look, let's have a proper go at it then. Let's do the British Championship in X30 and the Europeans again. After, what's that? I think it was 6 or 7 years now of karting, and it's my first time doing a British Championship. That was in 2020. We sort of hit the ground running there, and I won the first round of the British and the first round of the Europeans, and it was looking a really good year. And then Tony Kart approached me, and I said, look, I'll only ever move Dan from yourself. If Tony Kart approached me, I would never turn that down opportunity, and they offered me a drive to drive for them in 22, and it was also COVID, so it was a bit of a weird year, not much racing, but coming off the back of two wins in the British and the European, I was fairly confident. I think I did one race before the World Championships in Portimao in OK, Champions of the Future. Finished 6th in that, and I thought, okay, going into the next week, it's the Worlds. I've got a chance of winning an actual World. It's the IKFA World Championship. I started second for the final, done the job through the heats. The heavens opened and it definitely rained, and I've always loved the wet. My dad used to send me out in slicks in the wet. It's definitely done something to me because I'd say I'm very, very good in the wet, and I won the race by 10 seconds in the Portimao, which I'd say is my best race to yet. So, and then I went to Strawberry after that to try and push in Rotax, the Tony Kart and X30 again, 21. I won both Europeans in that year. And then after that, I wanted to do the British because in 22, I was like, look, I've got to do a British Championship before I stop karting, because I've not done it ever since. So yeah, I did that. I was like, look, I'm gonna only do that, and I managed to win that in 22. So I can happily say that I've won everything I've wanted to win. 100%. It's massive. Like for me, the European is more about, obviously qualifying is important in Britain, but obviously the engines get hot, it's grippier, you want to be out front, cool tyres, being in Europe, and it's just a lot more flowing. Obviously the circuits are wider, bigger, and it's not so chaotic, I think I'd say is the word, in Europe. It's just nice, relax, and I would say most of the time the fastest wins, whereas in Britain that's definitely not the case. It's dog eats dog. Tracks are narrow, low grip. You've got to adapt a lot of skills though in Britain, to be honest, that you have to bring out, and also the competitors are so hard. So I'd say there's a massive difference. Boring, but the FIA World Championship is the one that I can only say is my best achievement, and that one to win was just almost like everything you've worked for, everything you've done in your karting career is done. Like, doesn't matter what I won after that, realistically. Obviously, for me, a European Championship is harder to win because it's over either 2, 4, 6 rounds, however many rounds it is, so you have to be a lot more consistent. But a World Championship is like, right, tick, that's done. That's that one off the list. The FIA Academy was a really, really good achievement of mine, to be promoted from the Motorsport UK to represent them and to win it for them. I think I was the first British person to win it, so that one was also really good. I think that the simulator's like unreal, to be honest. I think obviously it's very, very difficult to mimic a real life, but I think this is the closest I've driven to anything on a simulator to real life. I think it slides, it bogs, like I said, the characteristics. I think it's great. I think just the tactile feel of the actual sim itself, it is really, really good, to be honest. I can't really fault it, I can't say anything bad about it, but this is definitely the closest to real life. I think some sims you get on and it's just like, oh, it doesn't feel anything like it, or it's just a bit of a game sort of thing, but this actually does feel like, you know what, this can help me as a tool. I think definitely for the younger kids, it's big, because obviously when they're at the track they're having to play around and everything like that, whereas if you can, all it is at that age is just laps. It's not really too much about data, it's not too much about technical, because at the end of the day they're kids, and when you've got loads of squiggly lines, as they would say, they're not really taking it in. So all it is the laps, and this is the perfect tool. Put it in your home, kid can jump on it and do 200 laps. It's second to none. And then he's at the track and he's done 200 laps. As a kid, to just pick up a track and to do laps and laps and laps, it's brilliant. Obviously, I'd never say no to cars. That's obviously the dream, to get there somehow in racing. But at the moment, I'm coaching. I do one-to-one coaching, so I'd obviously on-track coaching, and then in the bigger races like European, I try to do two to three at a time at a track. So GoPro, obviously analysis, sort of try and get into the mental of what I've gone through to give to them. Perfect, thank you.